Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about my experience with Invisalign, answering any frequently asked questions and showing you some before and after pictures. So if you're thinking about getting Invisalign, make sure you watch the entirety of this video to ensure that you know everything that you need to know before you get them. The structure of this video is basically going to be me talking about my experience with Invisalign. I'm going to be completely honest, telling you all the pros and cons, giving you some advice on what to expect and what you need to know before you get Invisalign. And I'm going to be going through some frequently asked questions about Invisalign, and hopefully this video is going to be incredibly informative and tell you everything that you'll need to know before you go into the process of getting Invisalign. I'm just going to go through the entire process, and if there's anything else that you would like to know, anything that I've missed out, please just drop me a comment down below and I will get back to you ASAP, because I want to make this as informative as possible, because I know getting Invisalign can be quite a scary experience. Apologies in advance, by the way, if I keep looking at the phone. It's just because I've written down some questions that I want to answer in this video and I don't want to forget anything, so I am going to keep looking at my phone for that, so I'm sorry. So before I jump into it, I am just going to tell you a little bit about why I decided to get Invisalign and what the thought process behind getting Invisalign was for me. So essentially, since I have been very young, I've always been very insecure about my teeth. I've been very insecure about my smile. I do not have my Invisalign in at the moment because I'm drinking coffee, but I will show you me putting them in later in this video. But my teeth right now are in the best condition they have ever been in. I haven't finished my Invisalign journey yet, but they are in a much better condition than they've ever been. And I've always been very insecure about my smile. Like, I'm quite a big smiler. Like, when I laugh and when I smile, I have a very big smile, so I'm quite teethy, and I have quite big teeth as well. And I've always been really insecure about how they look, and I know that everyone is beautiful and you don't have to have perfectly straight teeth in order to be attractive or beautiful. I've always wanted straighter teeth, and I've always wanted braces, but I didn't want the traditional train track braces because I thought, like, I don't know, I just didn't think they looked very good on me. So when I heard of Invisalign, I was like, this is something that I really want. But obviously Invisalign can be quite expensive, so I'd kind of put it off for ages. So when I finally started to think that I wanted to get Invisalign, that was when the pandemic was happening, and so everything had to be halted, so I could only finally get them last year. But I have wanted to have them for about 2 years now, but it was just quite delayed. So I basically just wanted to increase my confidence and improve how I felt about myself. Before I could actually get Invisalign, I had to get something called a gum graft. Now, not everyone will need this, and I don't think it's common for people to need this, but sometimes people do need it, like me. And what that means is I had to have a small operation, which meant that basically the gum on the bottom of my teeth was quite thin. So when my teeth were going to move through the braces, they were going to move outwards and they wouldn't have enough gum space to move into, so they needed to put something there to fill out that gum space, because basically if your teeth are moving and they don't have gum to move into, they basically start to recede, and then that's when sort of like teeth problems start to happen. So I had to get this surgery first, which basically meant that they cut open my bottom gum, put some sort of substance in, sealed it back up, and sort of let it sort of attach itself to the gum. So that was like a 3-month recovery period, so I couldn't get Invisalign until I completely recovered from that. But it's good that they did that, because if they'd have just gone ahead with just moving my teeth and giving me the braces, then I basically would have gum recession. So it's very important, I'll get into this shortly as well, that you choose an Invisalign provider who actually is going to care about your teeth, because I went to a few different Invisalign providers and I went to like a few different consultations, and some places were going to just straight up give me the Invisalign and they didn't tell me anything about the gum graft. So the gum graft was not done with the provider that I went with for Invisalign. The gum graft, I had at a separate company, and then the Invisalign provider that I went with was completely separate. The Invisalign provider just recommended someone for the gum graft, basically. So it wasn't just like an upselling kind of thing, like, oh, let's get you to spend more money. It was like, you need to have this done for the health of your teeth. So it's very important that you look around. This is just a tip here. Do not go with the first provider that you speak to, because I think I checked out maybe like 4 different Invisalign providers, and I went with the last one, and they actually price matched for me as well. So I found a cheaper price elsewhere. I came to the guys that I wanted to work with, and I was like, these guys can do it for this amount of money, can you also do it for this amount of money? And they price matched for me, which was really nice. And I think a lot of places will probably do that as well if you ask them to. So make sure to look around and do not go for the first provider, because some people, they don't care about your teeth. I'm going to be honest, like Invisalign providers, they should. It's their job to care for you. Orthodontics is about like how your teeth look, and it should also be about how your teeth are cared for. I decided to go with a company called My Smile, who are based in Birmingham, and my orthodontist is Harmon, and he's excellent. I've had such a good experience with him. But I had to have a gum graft, and the gum graft, I believe, cost me about £1,400 maybe. I think I had to go have it done, have a checkup, have another checkup. So yeah, it's not a cheap experience to get a gum graft, and it was hella painful as well, the gum graft, not the Invisalign. It was so sore for ages. I couldn't eat and I couldn't brush my teeth for ages. It was disgusting. But it healed well, everything went fine. Do not let that put you off, because that was just a specific, like, isolated incident with me. Obviously my gums were just too thin, basically, but that's all sorted now. Nearly a year into my treatment now. I started February 2021, I'm filming this in February 2022, and I still have quite a bit of movement to go. We are definitely like over 3/4 of the way done now, which is excellent. So I've had it for a year and we're nearly finished. So I have a lot of attachments on my teeth, which are the grips that allow the aligners that you get to hold into place or slot into place onto your teeth. And that is because my teeth were very, very overcrowded. Basically, my teeth were in a really, really bad condition to start with. I'm going to overlay some pictures of before and what they're at now. Bear in mind, this is not the finished look, so there's still more to go. I am going to jump into some questions and answers, just some frequently asked questions that people seem to not be too sure about when it comes to Invisalign. First question is, how does it work? Excellent question. Okay, so you're watching this video and you're like, oh, I want to get Invisalign. What do I do, Katie? Okay, here's what you do, my friend. You go to Google and you search Invisalign providers near me, and you look through all your different options in an area near you or a specific area that you'd like to go get Invisalign from. You check out their website and you book a consultation. Lots of these consultations will be free, so I would honestly recommend at least trying maybe like 5 or 6 different providers. Go prepared with questions, ask them everything you want to ask. Hopefully I'll be able to cover some of that in this, but like ask them anything you want to ask, like write down some questions and make sure you get that information out of these people, okay? Because it's very important. Your teeth are important and you're putting your teeth in the responsibility of someone else's hands, so they cannot mess that up, okay? So it's very important that you really do your research. And what will happen is you'll go have a consultation. They'll explain to you, you know, prices, risks, benefits, etc, etc. I'm not sure how it works, but they created a simulation of what my teeth would look like after the treatment, so basically what they want to get my teeth to and from, so you can actually see the end result before they do it, and they basically try to get it as close to that as possible, which I think is incredible. So every time you get a new set of aligners, it's slightly different than the previous set, obviously, because it slightly moves your teeth each week. So basically this machine predicts the movements of each of these aligners to see where the end result of your teeth will be. It's very impressive technology. Once you agree that you would like to go with that person for your Invisalign treatment, they will basically send off to have your aligners fitted to the shape of your teeth. I was given a set of aligners and I had to wear those particular aligners for 2 weeks, and then every 2 weeks I would change the aligner to the next one. So say in the course of 6 weeks I would wear 3 different aligners and I would change them every 2 weeks, and it would be very, very tight when you first put them onto your teeth because obviously they are trying to move your teeth. But now that I've gotten more towards the end of my treatment, I'm actually only wearing my aligners for 1 week. So after 1 week, I'll switch to the next one. After that week, I'll switch to the next one. After that week, I'll switch to the next one. It's because as we're getting close to the end of my treatment, there is less aggressive movement needed. I don't need to wear them for as long because it's not as big of a movement. So at the beginning, you'll probably be wearing your aligners for a longer time period than you will towards the end. If you're like me, you may need some filing on your teeth. So as I mentioned before, I had very overcrowded teeth. So they actually needed to file down my teeth ever so slightly just to make room for the other teeth to move into that space. And their filing doesn't hurt. It sounds gross because you can sort of, it's like a sawing kind of noise, and obviously on your teeth that sounds horrible, but there's no pain whatsoever. It's not even uncomfortable. It's just the sound. Like, you think that it should hurt and you think that it should feel like horrible because it's like a sawing kind of noise, but honestly not painful at all. And some people don't need filing down their teeth. The next question is, how frequently do you have to go to the dentist? To be honest, it's not that much. Probably once every 3 months, which you probably should be going to the dentist like not much longer than that anyway. It's basically just to pick up your new sets of aligners when you have more aligners to collect, and it's just to occasionally check in with your orthodontist to make sure everything's going okay and you're not having any problems or any pain or anything like that. So it's not that frequent, to be honest. I would say once every like 3 months or so. How much does it cost? Now this is the big question. This is that I'm sure everyone is very interested in. For me, I think the total cost is around £3,750. Now, I appreciate that is a lot of money, What it was for me was I had to pay a £2,000 deposit. And obviously that deposit goes towards the total overall amount. And basically I had a payment scheme, and most places will do a payment scheme like you will not have to pay this like nearly £4,000 up front, where I basically paid £150 per month across 10 months. That covered me for 1,500, so then we've paid 3,500 already, and then the remaining, I think £250 basically just goes towards like teeth whitening at the end of the procedure and any additional aligners that you may need. So that is what it's cost for me in total. So it is very expensive, and bear in mind I also paid like over £1,000 as well for a gum graft in the beginning, which was not related to this company, but my teeth were in a very, very bad condition when I started this, and my case was quite bad in terms of overcrowding, and the teeth really needed to be moved a lot, so it took a long time. So if your teeth are in a better condition than the before photos that I showed you, it will likely be less expensive than that. And as I said earlier, you can always get discounts as well. If you look around and you find cheaper deals, most places will price match for you. But this is just how much I paid. A lot of people have it much, much cheaper. Like, I know a girl who's getting it done at the moment, and her costs are way cheaper than mine. So do not let the price of mine put you off, because your experience may actually end up being much cheaper. The next question is it painful? Which is a good question, because everyone seems to want to know how painful it is. I wouldn't say it's painful, but it is definitely sore and uncomfortable, especially at the beginning when you're getting used to having them in. So now when I'm changing my aligners, it's a little bit sore on day 1 and 2 of wearing the new aligners, because obviously your teeth are moving on those days. But it's not painful, it's just a little bit sensitive maybe. And it's not like sensitive teeth as in like, oh, that's so painful and I need paracetamol. It's just like, oh, like maybe I don't want to bite down too hard into anything. I would recommend maybe changing your Invisalign of the night, so that when it sort of starts to become most painful after just putting it in, you're actually asleep through it. That makes it a bit less uncomfortable for you. No, I would personally say it's not painful. It is just a little bit uncomfortable and sore, and like you can feel the aligners like feeling quite tight on your teeth and stuff. You honestly do get used to it so quickly. Like, I was worried about that. Like, within my first few weeks I was like, oh, this is so weird, like it feels so weird having something in my mouth. But now it just genuinely feels normal, and I think, to be honest, it will feel weird when I'm not wearing them. Do not let the pain put you off, because honestly I was worried about that too, and it's really nothing to be scared about. Like, you don't have to worry about that at all. The next question is, how do you clean your teeth? So you clean your teeth like normal. You just take your Invisalign out, you brush your teeth, put your Invisalign back in. Like, you just clean your teeth like you would like if you didn't have braces, basically. So obviously you take your Invisalign out to eat, and you take your Invisalign out to drink anything that isn't water, or you should just sort of give your teeth a quick little brush with a brush. Maybe you don't need to use toothpaste, depending on what it was. Just brush your teeth just to make sure there's no like bits in it or like bacteria or anything like that, and before you put your Invisalign back in, because that can make the Invisalign look dirty, and then it won't be clear, and then it won't be invisible, which is why obviously you've gone with Invisalign. How long does it take? Again, this is very dependent on the condition that your teeth are in. The average treatment time for Invisalign is between 12 and 18 months. If you just need some slight movements in your teeth, it could only take a couple months. If you have like really bad teeth that need like a lot of work, it could take longer. So it really does just depend on the condition of your teeth at the very start. How long do you have to wear your Invisalign for? So you have to wear your Invisalign between 20 and 22 hours a day. So you only have between 2 to 4 hours a day where you can't be wearing your Invisalign. To have breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and any drinks that aren't water. So I have my Invisalign out at the moment because I'm drinking coffee. You should never drink coffee with your Invisalign, but it is actually quite simple. If you allot 30 minutes for breakfast, 30 minutes for lunch, 30 minutes for dinner, 30 minutes for snacks, then that's 2 hours, and you can have them out for up to 4 hours, but it is recommended that you aim for 22 hours per day, because the longer that you keep the Invisalign in for, the more the teeth are going to move, and then the more they're going to be able to fit the next set of aligners that you get, and then the next set of aligners that you get. Because if you don't keep them in for enough time, and then you have the next set of aligners which is based on the movements from the previous aligners, your teeth will not have moved to the previous aligner shape, and therefore you will not be able to fit the next aligner, and it will basically mess up your teeth moving. So you aren't supposed to drink anything other than water with your aligners in. However, I'm going to be honest, I said I was going to be completely honest, I definitely sometimes will drink clear liquids, or liquids that don't have too much sugar in, through a straw, and that kind of works well. For example, you definitely cannot be drinking red wine with your aligners in, but you could possibly drink white wine. Now, I'm not advising you that, that's not me giving you advice, it's just me saying this is something that I've done, so just be conscious of what you're drinking and eating. Is there anything you can't do with Invisalign? Not really. I mean, other than like not drinking like coffee and stuff with Invisalign in, or like dark liquids, or like eating with it in, there's not really anything that it limits you from doing. Like, it's very flexible, it's much more flexible than traditional braces. It doesn't limit anything that you eat either, so you can eat absolutely anything that you want, there's no problems with it. But whilst your teeth are moving, obviously your teeth might be a little bit more sensitive than usual, so it's recommended that you steer clear of like things like ice cream, just because that can like give you a little bit of toothache during that time. But other than that, like, you're pretty much good. Are the aligners really invisible? So I would say they are nearly invisible. If you're up close with someone, you're having a conversation with them, you're smiling, you've got your teeth on show, you can see that there's something in your teeth that is not natural. Like, it's not just purely your teeth, like there's a layer there, there's something there, much more invisible than the standard braces that you can get like on the NHS. Particularly the thing that makes them not 100% invisible is the attachments that you have on your teeth. As I mentioned earlier, they are needed in order to help the aligners sit on your teeth, and they're typically what you can see more than the aligners. The aligners themselves are practically invisible, like you wouldn't really be able to see them unless you had the bonds. I didn't actually realise before I started getting the treatment how many bonds I was going to be having on my teeth because of how bad of a condition they were in and how much they needed to move. It just makes it a lot less invisible having more bonds on your teeth. So if you only have like a couple bonds, and say if they're at the back, it's going to be less apparent that you have these sort of braces in. But from a distance, like, I really do not think you'd be able to tell. Just generally when you're out and about, like talking to people in like real life, if you haven't mentioned it to them, I don't actually think they would be able to notice it. So I think it is pretty invisible, and it kind of does what it says on the tin. But also there are definitely parts where like people will be able to pick up on the fact that you have braces in. Does Invisalign affect your face? Invisalign can actually move or change the way that your jaw looks and the way that your lips look. This section has become a bit more defined, I've noticed, and it's also changed the way that my lips are as well. Because my teeth are moving outwards rather than inwards, so these teeth are going out rather than coming back on themselves, it's almost pushed my lips out, and in turn has moved my lips sort of like underneath, so it's kind of made the upper layer of my lips thinner, which is something that I personally haven't really liked. But I think it really does depend on the amount that your teeth have to move. Now my teeth have had to move a lot, so it's going to be changing the way my face looks quite a bit. But for people who only need slight movement, I imagine that there would be much less of a change in your facial structure. So the answer is yes, it can affect the way your jaw looks and the way your lips look. But it really does depend again on the movements required, and personally I don't think it's a huge problem. Like, I'd rather have straighter teeth, so that's okay with me. So now I'm going to move on to some more general tips, just things that I sort of wish I would have known before getting Invisalign, or things that I think could be quite useful for you to know before you start your journey. One of the most annoying things about Invisalign is when you're going out to a restaurant and then you have to go to the bathroom to brush your teeth after your meal because you don't want to put your Invisalign back in until you've cleaned your teeth, and then obviously taking your aligners out in the restaurant and things like that. So a general tip would be to carry a small compact toothbrush with you everywhere you go, because you never know when you're going to be out having food and then you're going to have to go to the bathroom and brush your teeth in public. I don't mind brushing my teeth in public. Sometimes you'll get some weird looks from people in the bathroom being like, what is this girl doing? I have a bunch of mini toothbrushes which look like this, and they basically just fold up, and you can basically just pop these in your handbag, take them with you, just like be brushing your teeth in the bathroom and stuff. And you can get like a mini toothpaste as well, and I would just recommend those because they're actually really helpful. But you gotta do what you gotta do to get those straight teeth. You also might have a little bit of a lisp to start with when you first get your Invisalign, because your teeth aren't used to having something in your mouth like that, but I promise it goes away. It does sound a little bit silly at first, but it does go away really quickly and you do get used to it. So it's definitely not something to put you off, and it's kind of like a minor thing. Sometimes as well, you simply cannot be bothered to take your Invisalign out. Like, maybe someone offers you a biscuit, or like they offer you something small, and you literally just cannot be bothered to take your aligners out and put them back in, because it can be a little bit of a faff sometimes, especially if you need to brush your teeth afterwards. So a lot of people actually lose weight using Invisalign, so they basically just eat less and they eat only in their like set time periods. That may be a pro, maybe, depending on what kind of goals you have. The best thing about Invisalign for sure to me is basically just having a bit more of a confident smile, feeling much happier with the way my teeth look, and just feeling more comfortable with like the way I look when I laugh and smile. Like, that to me is kind of like worth the money. When you have straighter teeth, it's actually much more hygienic because you're able to clean them much better. So if you have lots of overcrowding like I did, it's harder to clean those spaces because there's such a small gap between the teeth. So when those teeth become less crowded, it's much easier to clean, and you can get into all the areas that you need to get into when you're brushing your teeth. There are lots of benefits benefits that I've found doing this just so far, even though I'm not at the end of my treatment yet. The penultimate section of this video is basically my plans for the future. So I still have a few months left of my treatment, and once my treatment has finished, the plan is to basically get my teeth whitened, which will be done with my MySmile provider, because that's sort of part of the package that I bought into. We're then going to be taking a look at how my teeth look at the very end. Maybe I'll need some more aligners to just straighten up some niggly teeth that still need to do a little bit of movement, or maybe the teeth will be in perfect condition and I won't need to do anything further. But there are options for things like composite bonding, which I have personally looked into, and if I ever get that done, I'll definitely make another video about it. Composite bonding is just a way to make your teeth look even more perfect, so basically getting that Hollywood smile, everything lines up, and there are a few different options that you can go for once you've finished your Invisalign treatment if you're still not 100% happy with the overall look of your teeth. But that's obviously an additional cost and wouldn't be included in any sort of like Invisalign package. But I think for the most part that is pretty much all of the Invisalign questions answered. Specifically, if there's any I have not covered or you'd like to know the answer to, please let me know in the comments and I will come back to you and answer as soon as possible. But now I'm going to show you how I put my Invisalign in and what my retainers look like. I have just brushed and flossed my teeth and got my aligners ready. So this is what the aligners look like. This is for the upper teeth and this is for the lower teeth. And it's so simple. You literally just slot them into your teeth like this. So that's the top set done, and then this is the bottom set. You usually hear like a bit of a click as well once they're in there, and that kind of lets you know that they're like placed properly. But then the next step, and it's important that you do this, especially at the very beginning, look, when you're still getting used to putting them in, is to use this little device, which is like a little squeezy chewy thing, and you literally just put it in your mouth and push down from both directions of teeth. And then to take them out, literally all you do is you find where it ends, get your nail underneath it and pull it out. But I hope this video has been helpful for you if you're looking into getting Invisalign. My personal recommendation would be that if you are interested in doing it, go for it, because you only get one life. You may as well get the smile that you want. I understand this is a lot of money, but if you are happy to spend that kind of money on sorting out your teeth, then it is definitely a worthy investment. But that wraps up the end of the video, and I will leave it at that. If you did enjoy this video or you found it helpful, please hit the thumbs up button because it really helps, and if you're new to my channel, I really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button down below. Thanks all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.